Hello, beautiful souls. So we're back with the beautiful Tatiana and myself, the Divine Team, bringing you podcast number 13. So a fabulous number. Obviously, I'm not one to get hung up on what 13 means, as in, oh no, we shouldn't do it or do 13. For me, it's just to do with the energies, and we always have a lovely chat before we come on. So we've just been chatting for a half an hour and just feeling, I can feel the energy just brightening now as we speak, and that's brightening because we're really loving and enjoying talking to you in this way. So today we're going to touch on connecting with energies and maybe how these energies come in and affect us in a good way. So my experience just for this morning, as I did my meditation, I actually got the energy of Lord Vuzlu came in, and a lot of people won't have heard of Lord Vuzlu, but I did have him come in over a year ago, and I actually set up to do a workshop with him, and for some reason nobody signed up for the workshop, so it didn't come about. So I've not contacted him, as in I've not took time aside to actually interact with him, but I'm going to do that later today. So who knows, perhaps he's saying it's time, because sometimes we can create workshops and things to do, and it's not really the time for them at the time, but it's almost like a test for us to go through to see if we're going to take up the mantle, so to speak. So it might be that he wants me now to put that together. I'm not sure, but I will feel into that and keep you up to date. So what would
I
you
love
like
this.
to share?
No,
Sorry.
I'm going to share a story that happened last night. However, is what kind of energy is he? Because I see him as a Chinese man.
Right. It's funny because I had a Chinese man come in this morning, and I was
Ah,
trying to work out who that was linked into, but I didn't get anything back. So I would have to look up. I know I'm trying to think. I'm names are not dropping in at the moment.
mm,
Who's the lady that does the archangels? Where's my archangel? Diana Cooper.
Diana Cooper.
Diana Cooper speaks about Lord Vuzlu and what he brings. And I think it's only Diana Cooper that I've ever heard that relates to Lord Vuzlu. Did I say Lord Vuzlu? Yes, I did.
Yeah, Bruce Lee.
Feel like I'm getting tongue-tied. So obviously Lord Vuzlu is a masculine energy.
Yes. I feel,
Um,
yeah, masculine kind of healing energy.
I,
Also, like, I
I
see the red color with him. You wear red.
Oh, right. Yeah, but this is orange actually that I've
Oh,
got.
is
This
it?
could be, yeah, it is. It is. He's a high priest. I'm just looking online now, and as I said, it's
Right.
come up, the information's come up with Diana Cooper. So that's it. He's like a frequency of a high priest from the golden era of Atlantis. So
Ah.
but I feel like when he comes in, it's like what I'm feeling is there's a bit of no nonsense going on with him. I feel like there's a bit of straight talking in his ear
Yes.
and he means business. I can feel his energy aligning with me now as we're speaking. And again, so this is coming back to, connecting with energies and frequencies. So
Yes.
this is me because I can feel the energies and I tend to feel the energies. And if I give myself time, I will feel into what that energy's bringing. And sometimes you might look for information to confirm what you're getting and you can find it. But sometimes I've had it where I've looked for information because I'm connecting with an energy, but not been able to find anything. So
Yeah.
you just have to trust, I trust now
Exactly.
that
That
what I'm
happens
getting.
to
So
me all the time, yeah.
so I
Like,
feel like he's stepping into my shoes, is what he's telling me. It's as though he's overlaid me, which is what I get more and more now, that when an energy comes in, it tends to overlay me, as
mm,
almost like he's part way into the front part of the body.
right,
Sort of
yes.
he's now become me in a way, but not
Mm,
completely. It's just so I can hold that space and hold that energy. So yeah, so we've got Lord Vuzlu in the room. So yeah, and at some point I will actually feel into that and post on the Divine Team
yes.
a little bit about Lord Vuzlu and perhaps maybe what he wants to bring and what he wants to share. I'm getting that he is a very high frequency being of light, and that part of what he wants to do is bring that energy. It's almost like bring that energy to us so we can emanate more of that from ourselves. It's like enabling us to align with that high frequency energy that he's bringing. It's almost like he's returning it back to the planet somehow, so that we can connect with it and we can then maintain. That's what he's telling me, so we can maintain that energy. So it's like stepping into a higher vibration. I can feel it in my legs and my feet, and
Yeah.
as we step into that higher vibration, we're maintaining that vibration. It's not just coming and going, because this is where we're lifting the energy all the time as we work on ourselves.
Yes.
We're lifting our vibrations so that we're emanating ever more light. So that's what
Yeah.
he's assisting. That's what I feel he's doing with me, is assisting me,
Yeah.
and
I
not
can
only me.
feel it in my belly, like,
Yeah, like a buzzing. Yeah.
yeah.
So this is where, talking, sorry, I keep looking back just to check with me notes, but this is where, connecting with energies. And it could be that you connect with other energies. I was thinking I'd be speaking about connecting with dragons, because I've got the dragons coming in a lot now, because I've been doing a course
Mhm.
to do with dragons, and the golden dragon came in, the golden dragon of abundance came in yesterday, and that actually aligned with my solar plexus this morning. So this is us bringing and drawing more abundance into our lives. So you can set the intention to connect with whoever you're drawn, Mother Mary, the angelics. Some of you will be the fairy realms. But when you ask to connect with them, they share their vibration, which lifts
Yeah.
us. And often when we're having difficult situations, sometimes we need that lifting, we need that protection as well. I
Yeah.
feel they bring. So yeah, and lots of love.
Yes. I can feel that because when sometimes when we're sad or when we're in this kind of situation, they always send me the image of like there's always at least one or two spirit guides or angels that are supporting you, holding your hand. Obviously, I can't always feel it. When you feel lonely, you're just in this place and you're just like, but I always get the image that they are there, they support us even when we don't know. That's what I love, and that's for every one of us, even if we don't see that. And that's how connected we are, but we don't see that and we don't feel it all the time.
And you're spot on there about the fact that they're there all the time, Tatiana. An example of which, I was watching a program. I don't watch horror films, because they affect me. They stay with me for days,
No, but yeah, yeah.
because I think that's to do with our sensitive energy. But I was watching a program on Saturday, and there was a lot of like violence in it. And after I watched it, I could feel myself feeling a bit unnerved, because part of it was quite scary what had took place. And I thought, oh, what's going on here? And I just thought, right, okay, let's come back to myself, ground. And the moment I grounded, I could feel my light expand and clear. I could literally feel like it went bing,
Yeah.
and I suddenly felt lifted. This is why it's so important to have a continual grounding system, a regime for yourself that you follow. Because like Tatiana said, you can have days where you feel sad, you can have processes you go through, like if you've lost somebody and you're grieving, and obviously you need to feel these emotions, but we
Mm.
also are now aware, because of how far we are on our journeys, that we have these ways of clearing this emotion and this feeling. So obviously what I'd done was watch this film. That energy had come into my energy fields, and
Yeah.
kind of then I'm picking up on it, feeling a bit and
Hmm.
I'm like, what's going on? But then suddenly it's cleared, because I've grounded, and the fear, because that had triggered a fear in me, the fear just went. Because it
Yeah.
was almost like, as I was going upstairs, I was a bit like, it's a bit dark upstairs. I'm not, whereas normally I can walk about and not think to put lights on and stuff. And I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. I don't like this feeling. But once I grounded and expanded the light, it was just like it was lifted off me like that, and it had gone.
Yes. And I have a story about this
Oh,
because when you said like housing and like you feel the energies, obviously we have rest energy, goes, whatever you want to call it, in houses. And when I've in Germany, I've done that I was doing the house cleansing and the craziest stories happen. What I wanted to say with this is like, I completely forgot my sentences. What are we going?
Tatiana, that's what I'm like today. It's as though the words, I'm trying to think of the words and they're going. But you were going to share an experience. Did you go to somebody's property to
Well, yeah,
clear?
I
Did they
wanted,
purposely ask you to go to
yes.
clear so they knew something
So
didn't feel right?
friends of ours, they moved house last week or the week before anyway. So I was talking about it with Paul yesterday or the day before, and before bed, I always get these messages before bed because obviously I'm relaxed and they see my light. I don't know. I got connected with the house, the new house. I've never been there, so I was sitting in that image they gave me. I was sitting with Paul on the sofa, and there was a man. The friends were in front of us. They were standing. I don't know why. Anyway, there was this spirit, with his head in his hand, like,
Can I
come.
just can I just ask, was you
Yeah.
actually fit you weren't physically in that house with
No,
Paul's
I
friends and Paul?
no.
It was you in your
Yeah.
third eye.
I it's always visual for me. So
Yes.
I was laying in bed, like relaxing, like I'm ready to go to sleep now. And then this thought of like, oh, the house, oh, they moved. And then this image
Drop.
came to me, and I saw me sitting there. It was like a film. It is literally like a film, but obviously 3D, not like like it's in front of you. Um, yeah, now this spirit was there, and he just came to my left side and said, like, yeah, now I'm here next to you. And I was like, sometimes it sounds creepier than it is, because in these situations, because my soul is used to do this kind of work, my human is like, ooh. But when I dial in with my soul, is I was like, okay, what do you want? How can I help you? Do you want me to send you to the light? And he said, yeah, maybe when you come over. Not right now, because they do renovation and I want to see everything. It's like it was a proper conversation with that spirit. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
if you scare them, if you scare the dog, they have a dog. You have to go. But obviously, um when I first moved in with Paul in Leeds, we had a ghost there. Like, uh,
Is, is
it
this the
was.
house? This is where
No,
you
this is a different story. So
right,
when I
different.
connect with them, obviously they see me, and I always ask them, hey, do you want me to help you? What do you want to do? Don't interact with Paul. And that spirit interacted with Paul, scared him sometimes, tapped his shoulder. And I was like, no, 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 you have to go now. And I remember he was always quite, the spirit was always quite funny with me. So when I was reading messages, he was looking over my shoulder. Oh, that's funny. And I was like, oh, that's private. Obviously, it's all happening in my head. It's not
Yeah,
like literally.
physically.
Yeah. And he scared Paul many times, and I was like, you have to go now. And then it took me ages. I think it took me 2 hours to tell him, go now, you go into a different life. The light, your family's there. And I had to get all his ancestors. I always built like a tunnel to heaven. I don't believe in
Yes.
heaven, but it's go back to the universe. And sometimes because um British houses have a lot of old history, so there's a lot of energy. And I'm not sure where he was from, but I had the feeling he was there for 40, 50, 60 years. And yeah, I had to call his family who passed already. And it took me 2 hours to finally get him over. But then he was like, okay, I'm going now. And then he was gone. And Paul never had any experience, and obviously he was gone. And I think it's always the energy. Obviously it has to do with me. Maybe it's one of my soul family kind of ancestral energies. Yeah, and I was always lucky, touch wood, that nothing ever happened. I only had one creepy story where I saw that spirit in like 3D standing in front of me for 2 seconds, that was scary. And I told them, guys, I don't never want to do this again, because
Never
it's
show me it like that.
yeah, so I'm quite when I watch horror films, I was absolutely into that. Not anymore, because I can feel the spirits, and it's obviously the story they tell, and I'm connecting with spirits. So I stopped watching horror movies, and I think I realized that I have this. huge gift to help people to cross over, to
Yeah.
help artists, actors in a way. That's another calling. I haven't acted on this, but Evan Peters, he played this I don't know this name, but he played a person in the 80s, 1780s, and he killed men.
Right.
And I couldn't watch it. I watched the first episode and I was like, I can't watch it because I'm in it. I see everything. And it was like it was me who did it.
Oh, wow. So you took on the
Like,
persona.
yeah, well, it was horrible. And I know the actor had like issues after that, started
Right.
drinking, but that the issues he had after was the the persona, the spirit he played. So
Yes.
I could see that, and I was like, I'm not going to. I sent him healing.
Yes.
Obviously, he doesn't know he's an actor. He doesn't know me, but oh my God, it's so creepy when you get into the energies and sometimes they're still spirit is still in this kind of role they played on Earth
Yeah.
and it's so like the energy is just so toxic sometimes. That was the first film I was it was a series where when I said I can't because I know I had no idea what the story was about but I knew what's going to happen next and I knew exactly what the actor was thinking how he
Thinking.
got involved into that. Oh my God, yeah, it was too much. So I since then I think that it came 2 3 years out like
Right. Further on.
I don't know what was the anyway, yeah, so that is quite interesting. I love to have that gift because you can always like have a look and what's going on and what really happened. Same with Jack the Ripper. Oh, when I tell the story, it's crazy. Do you want to know the story?
I think most people in England know the story of Jack the
Yeah.
Ripper.
Yeah, but
'Cause
my personal story with it.
no, oh, right. Go on.
So I remember that. It was in 2018 in January. I went on to London because I was like, I like London. I want to just explore. And I booked the hotel in Whitechapel, right, where everything happened. And obviously, everyone knows
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper. And I was in this bedroom and I saw a woman sitting at the desk, a spirit. And I was like, who are you? I was like, yeah, I'll show you a story later. And I was like, oh, it wasn't creepy. It sounds creepy, but it wasn't. So she showed me exactly who it was, and it gave me nightmares. I stayed there for 5 days, and she showed me literally everything, what he did to her, and it was, I think oh, she showed me everything, and I was literally scared. That was the first time I was like, oh my God.
So
So.
did you clear that energy or did
Yeah,
you
so I asked her if she needed help, and she was, yeah, we're connected because you was her in a, you was literally her. And
Ah,
I was like, no, I wasn't her. But the images I received was like her perspective, he doing that to me. And I don't want to go into detail, but I could feel it,
no.
everything.
But when you think about it, if you'd connected with her and you've been linked to that past life,
Hmm.
it was a way of you clearing the trauma
Yes,
from your
yes,
past life, wasn't it?
yes.
Which makes
I
sense.
felt uplifted after that.
Yes.
And I had
So
no
the
idea.
I always think that's like a part of us that's been traumatized. So that's where we become fragmented
Yes,
when we're traumatized. It's like this is a separation takes place, isn't it? And sometimes they call it like, do they call it soul retrieval? When you're
yes,
bringing
yes,
part
yes.
of yourself back, aren't they? So it's like afterwards you will have felt better because it's like the part of yourself that was wounded that
Yes,
been traumatized had returned
exactly.
back. So
Exactly.
that makes sense. So as although it was not a nice experience to have, which is what a lot of people don't like doing, do they? They don't like going into
Yeah.
looking where the wounds are and things. And obviously, I understand that because some people have had really traumatic experiences. There's no getting away from that. But if you can get help in overcoming those major traumas, there's an energy shift because you're healing part of that lost self so that it
Mhm.
can you
Yeah.
become more whole, don't you?
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing is we're healing ourselves. It's the fragmented self that we're bringing
I
back and
I
returning.
know.
So, and that was your opportunity to do that. And that's,
Exactly. And obviously everyone knows Jack the Ripper, but obviously they found out who it was, and it was the guy that I saw, and it was I think the Polish guy did it. They were
do you mean who was the original Jack the Ripper? Is that what you
Yes, so
mean?
they found
Right.
out because they found blood stains on one of the victim's scarves, and they obviously asked the family, because obviously he had family in London,
Yeah.
uh, to give samples, and it was him.
Ah,
So
that's how, because actually I never really knew about how they found him. So part of
yeah,
your,
recently, like last month, I found
yes,
out.
because, oh, yeah, because they're doing, I have watched a couple of programs where there's been murders or uh,
Mm,
a diff, deaths or somebody missing and talking like 20, 30 years ago, and they're using like the DNA and such and the different
so
technologies that now
clever.
got to find them. I feel like somehow, as we're actually talking, Tatiana, there's a lightness. First, when you were speaking, I could feel a little bit of
Like,
fear.
oh,
I think that was
yeah,
myself, because again, when we discuss these things, sometimes it brings the fear up in us.
mm, yes,
But the more
yes,
light that we let in and the more work we do on ourselves and the more what's the word, it's like for me constantly keeping grounded, because
mhm,
as we ground and connect back with ourselves, we can actually feel into the body to feel where there's any discomfort. So it's almost like,
yeah,
as you were talking, that fear was causing me a discomfort in the solar
yeah,
plexus,
I get that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
that fear, and the stomach, I
Yeah,
could feel
that's
it, but it's shifted and cleared. So there's a healing of sorts. And I do feel, and I'm beginning to realize that more and more, that in the talking with people on a deeper level, I actually had a conversation with a friend last week, and she was talking through certain situations going on in her life. Um, and I was going to do a healing on her, and we never got round to it. But at the night, she phoned me and she said, when you left, she said, I felt so much better. And I
yeah,
thought it's because you you're able to talk with someone that you trust, like the conversations we have. We can talk deeply
yeah,
about anything,
mhm,
in our life with, that we've had issues with and such, and know that the person you're talking to is holding that space for you, that you trust them. And I
yeah,
feel
exactly.
in that energy, again, we're talking
Yes,
about energy, because
yes,
there's energy here in this space that we've created because we've opened our hearts, because we're connected with one another, heart to heart. And
yes,
anybody that listens to this will feel this energy, and you'll feel safe in that space. And in that space, as we talk, it allows us to release the trauma of that energy that we're talking about.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it
I
creates the
love
shift.
that because when I go into these energies, it's always like we're just showing you, and I'm never scared in a
Yes.
way. Um,
I think that's because your team are with you. You're
yeah,
not going
exactly.
in, you're not going in on your own.
And that's what I wanted to say. Your team is always there. So some people ask me if I could do exorcism, and I'm like, I'm not well, I am Christian, but I don't practice, and it was never a thing. So I don't believe in the devil or
It's
demon.
just they're just energies, aren't they? It's just
Exactly.
a build up of energy. That's how I see it,
So
build up.
when people ask me, I was like, no, come on, go to the church for that. And I don't know where to do it. And I don't want to be disrespectful because I know that the church is still doing these
Yeah.
things. Some people believe that's how they solve it. Anyway, every single time I hear stories from clients who experience like there were a few um haunted dolls they had and stuff like this. They asked me to solve it, and I was like, no, you can do it because that's something to do with you. And it's um I always tell them to call on their spirit guides because they have the power. If you don't see it and if you don't know where it's coming from, they have the power to see where's the energy coming from and they can clear it. So literally everyone, even if you don't see it, you don't have the gift or as a medium or psychic, call it on your spirit guides because they're going to clear that for you. And that's when I feel safe. I know they're there and I can always say, guys, what's going on here? Please help.
Yeah.
And it's always like when I call them in, and now I don't know the victim's name, Marie something. Anyway, they showed me, oh, you have the same eyes, and and I had a look at the photo, and we have the bloody same eyes. And
Wow.
she came back in when I was safe and grounded, and she showed me her life. I think she was from Wales, moved, no, 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 no. Was she from Wales? She was born in Ireland but moved to London then. And
Right.
obviously worked as a prostitute. And she showed me that she loved singing. And she kept telling me, you love singing as well. Don't you know why? And I was like, yeah. And she sent me this image of before she got unalived. She was singing. The guy was there, and she always wanted to become a singer, never made it, but she was singing, and one of the neighbors complained, and I see that like, can you shut up? And she was like, oh, singing away, and it was obviously me in a way, her perspective. Then that guy was like, oh, let's go in, and then obviously he did what he did, but she told me like there's always something similar from life to life that if it's the eyes, the hair, whatever. And I
The
thought that was quite beautiful because we could probably go back into the past and have a look. Oh, that person has my eyes. And connect with that energy and have a look. Is that maybe me or is this part of my soul?
yes.
And that's what I love,
Yeah.
that you can just see it from a lighter perspective because we had several lifetimes already on the.
Yes. Oh, many, many will have. Yeah. And obviously sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes we can have these feelings, these like discomforts in us. Lots of people I often get in the heart, I get like a heaviness on the chest, which I think must be linked to anxiety. And it can be
Mm,
from, the wounding that we've got, and it can be
mm,
from past lives, it can be
mm,
from ancestral, and we don't always have to know it. Obviously
like,
for you, that must have, for some reason, you needed to know that. That was
yeah,
clear, wasn't it?
not
But
in detail, but yeah.
I mean, and I think what they're saying as well, Tatiana, for you, is that it was almost like you needing to know what you're capable of. It's like being shown this is what you
Yeah.
can, this is what your energy can do,
Mm,
because we don't always realize it, do we?
yeah.
And that's a massive thing to know that you can clear energies. I mean, I've crossed energies over. I've crossed lost souls over. I've not set the intention to do so. Usually,
Mm,
again, like you, with me, I've traveled somewhere. I often find when I travel somewhere, I end up clearing or
yeah.
crossing
All the
energy
time.
over. And one particular time I went to Cyprus, and when I'd come back, I could feel a very negative energy. And it was when I worked at a centre, and the centre was quite, how can I say? I can only imagine it's on special ley lines. And I had been told that at that centre, when they first purchased it, that there was a crossing over of soldiers they had to cross all
I
the
had Roman soldiers on my mind when you said
right.
it.
I think it was like a fort
Yes.
base in its past, and then
Mm,
it became
mm,
like near an army barracks. Army barracks were placed in that area at some point as well.
yeah.
So it must have been a doorway, really. And when I came back, I was crossing all these young men over from Cyprus. Many of them had took their own lives. They were recent because I think it was in Cyprus things collapsed financially, and it was to do with not having work, and they were kind of lost within the cells, but also crossing because obviously there was the battle between Turkish Cyprus
Yeah.
and Greek Cypriots, wasn't there? Because
Hmm.
there was like a no man's land left. So I was crossing those over as well. And then when I'd completed, I had this negative energy. So I had a friend at the time, and she cleared the negative. I needed the assistance with that. So she cleared the energy for
Yeah.
me. But I had to hold that energy because these men, these souls were attached to it. So I couldn't not have the energy. But I know that those men came to me. They come to you because they see your light.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes you can be scared of that. But like Tatiana said, if you're following your routine and looking after yourself, you just call your team of light. And if it's not what you feel, if ever stuff like that happens, it's not what you feel, you just say no, it's not. You have the choice. You have the
Hmm.
choice whether you decide to do
Yeah.
that or not.
Yeah. You have the
But
choice.
yeah, it's But
Yeah,
also remember that there's also these beautiful guides and spirits that come in and bring us this
exactly.
really loving, uplifting
Yeah.
energy. Because when I was saying with the different energies I'm working with, I always feel like, and many of you will know, like if you work with the fairies, how different. So when the fairies come in, I don't always necessarily work with the fairies
Mm.
a lot, but when they come in, I'm laughing now because it's like I
Cheeky.
can feel the energy. So the reason we've called the fairies, or the reason they've put it for me to call the fairies in, it's to bring a lighter note to what we're talking about. So I can feel
Yeah.
like the fairy energy, and almost like the fairy energy to me are like little children running around, laughing,
Yeah.
giggling, being mischievous, but in
Yeah.
funny ways. So I feel like we're just being lifted with that beautiful
Mm.
energy. And again, you can do that. You can call in the fairy energy, the elementals, the angels. You can sit if you're feeling a bit fed up and a bit low, and you can just remember to call on these energies to just, it's almost like they come round you to lift you because they want to help us. They want to help us to keep this vibrational energy high. They want to help us to be able to, for us to be able to clear our own energy
Yeah.
fields and, and assist us in that way. So, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes. And there's like, it's also mindset. If we connect with spirit, we need to know that there's a reason and that it can't harm us and that we have the power. Because obviously, when we watch horror films, I was like, oh my God, it's going to unalive me, which is not the case. We have the power and we decide.
Yes,
Because if they can, spirit can do energetic things, we can do as well.
of
Because
course we
our
can.
energy. Mm.
Especially because of the light bodies that we're becoming as well. We're becoming such like the higher vibration because the body is carrying more light, and it's the light that clears the energy fields and clears. But then it's the light sometimes that the energies are drawn to because they want help and they don't know how to cross the cells. So sometimes you get that. And again, if you experience anything like that and you're not sure what's going on, you can always contact Tatiana or myself for any help. It's in the notes below, so to
Exactly.
speak.
And it just comes to me like I just share it because if you feel called you need a house clearing, I'm having opening one spot. I'm opening one spot. And whenever you see that video, the link is below, you can book it there. I'll put it in there. And also, if you're an artist, actor, if you need help with like a role got stuck with you, if you need to
Yeah.
help with clearance, I feel called to share this for like 6 months now, but I'm just doing it now. If you need help with energy, DM me and we sort it
And
because
that makes perfect sense about the actors because they're playing a role constantly, aren't they, day in, and they have to often become that personality. And then how
exactly.
do they switch?
And that's when things happen and like, oh, there's a different trait because obviously when you're in that energy, no, I'm not saying that you become it, but it can trigger your points in your body energetically where you like, oh, I never had a drinking issue. Why is there a drinking issue now? And if you sort this, obviously, because if you're an actor, you know exactly how that feels when you go into the role and like
Yeah,
you're being a bit stuck. And sometimes it's just like an energy clearing that
yeah,
needs to happen, or sending that energy to life because in a way you're working with that
yeah, that energy,
someone, yeah, with that energy.
definitely. That's
So if you feel called, if you need help there, I'm here. Let's do it. And it feels good.
yeah. We've ended on a note with the beautiful energies lifting us now with all the lights, and just
Mm.
feel your light expanding. It's like I can feel our light expanding out from us now, just
Yeah.
clearing all the energy, clearing the space where you are, clearing your energy fields so that you can feel lighter and lifted and feel so much more love.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, and we hope that you found that interesting. Because, and obviously, sometimes people don't like talking about these things, but these things, it happens and it's out there. And again, it's nice to know that we can talk about it and we're fine and everything's good. So if you need any help, there is help that that you can get.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Find your light worker that the person that resonates with you, and then go for it. Because life is easy and you are allowed to have a light, bright life
Yes.
and business.
A light-filled life. Yes.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Ah,
Thank you, everybody, and hopefully have a wonderful week, and we shall catch you next week with podcast 14. Take care.
exactly. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.